Welcome to the yoga method. Our core class today will focus on anti and rotational movements. But let's begin just on our backs when you're ready. So laying your beautiful selves down, gathering your knees to your hearts, and just hugging yourselves gently, rocking from side to side to help mobilize your lumbar spine. And then just really begin to breathe consciously and deeply into this moment. Just one more breath as you are. And then I'd love for you to ground through the four corners of your feet and just reach for your heels to see that your feet are equal. Take a little lift of your head to check your hips and knees are in line. And then we're peeling our way up into a bridge. So breathing in and then slowly breathing out. As you descend, just think about coming halfway down. So on the inhale, press and lift. On the exhale, descend smoothly. Could we go a little slower, please? So just take maybe 4 counts to lift the hips, pause and hold, and then a slow breath out to come just halfway down. Come again, rise super, super slow, and then slowly control the descent. Just 2 more as you are. So stamping down through the 4 corners of your feet, and we feel our hamstrings, our glutes, and our core working together. From here, could we do an alternating knee lift? Just a little bit quicker. So picking up through your right and then gently release. Picking up through your left knee, gently release. And we're checking that the pelvis is staying super level. From here, could we lift the knee, extend the leg, gently bend the knee, and release the foot back to the floor. Try again. So as we lift one leg, we're attempting to resist rotation through the pelvis and through the lower back. So bringing left knee to chest, touch the ceiling with your toes. Bring that knee back towards the chest. Ground, level off, shift weight. Last one, taking right leg high, lengthening it. And then gently bringing that knee back to our chest before releasing. One last little lift of the pelvis before we gently ease our way down to the earth. So feet can stay as they are, but come to the tips of your toes, hands behind your head. And I'd like for you to lift just super, super slow. And the same rate of descent. So as we breathe out, we lift up. And as we breathe in, we slowly control the descent. So in this position, our pelvic floor is drawing up, our lower belly is drawing down, and we're trying to keep that same position, that same level of connection. Just do one more super slow. So rising smooth and slow on the out breath, descending with control. We're going to add a little bit of a rapid movement, a little pulse, and we'll do some Kapalabhati breathing with it. Ready to reach your hands. So 4 little pulses, and then just a gentle relax down to refuel. Try that again. So 4 little pulses with the hands, with the belly, and with your breath. Come again. So toes are lightly grounded. Slowly descend. I'll stop talking and breathe. Descending, refill, refuel. Come again. Do you think we could do 8 of those little pulses? You ready? Reset, reland. Take a breath in. And then 8 pulses again when the time is right for you. Chin to chest. Gently release, gently land. Lucky last one. Ready? Melt, surrender, release. Interlace your fingers. I'd like you to lift up towards me, back to center and down. So that's all on one exhalation. So exhale, 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 release. Exhale, 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 breathe in. So every time we lift up, we're using the exhalation to work naturally with the stabilizers and the diaphragm. Let's do 4 more like this. So up, side, center, down. Just 1 more. We'll give the neck and the shoulders a little release and come to a single knee lift. So just an alternating leg lift, keeping the core strongly engaged, shoulders relaxed. So we're going to slow this down a little bit. So coming up on the in-breath, down on the out-breath. So no tension in the neck, no tension in the shoulders, just working with the core, with the pelvic floor. Just 1 more on each side when you're ready. And then I'd like for you to bring both legs up and pause here. Reaching for your same knee as hand. And then stacking knees right above the hips, shins parallel. Same arm as leg is going to lengthen away from the body. And we don't need to reach far. So we are focusing on what is happening through the abdominal wall as the arm and the leg move away from the midline. So no changes in the lower back, no popping outwards of the abdominal wall. Just slow, smooth, controlled movements. 4 more, please. Exhale long. Inhale to return. Just 2 more. 1 more. And then deciding whether you're staying with a single leg or double. So we can go both legs at the same time and both arms at the same time. But once again, this is just an option. So if you feel this in your lower back, that is not appropriate. If you're feeling the abdominals working, perfect. Exhaling. Inhale. Just 1 more as you are. Come back to the starting position. And we're just going to do alternating opposite elbow towards knee. So the knee is really staying over top of the pelvis. And we're trying to use our obliques to lift us up and over. So definitely working rotational strength now. If you're okay, we're going to start you 4. 4 more here. Exhale, inhale. Just 2 remaining. And pausing here. Hug knees in. Give yourselves a little bit of a breather. Let's take our right leg to the earth, left leg long. And lengthening through your right leg if you wish. Just out on a little neural component. Give our nerves a little bit of love as well as our muscles. So flexing and pointing. Just 1 more as you are, please. Bring both knees in. Grounding through your left, lengthening through your right. Maybe also lengthening through your left leg. And then just that little bit of neural flossing by dorsiflexion and plantar flexing through our feet. Let's do 4 more like this. 2 to go. 1 more. Everything releases. We hug in, and finally we're going to roll up. We'll come into a boat pose, but with a rotational component. Taking the opposing elbow, lifting through your heart, and just hinge slightly back. So you feel a good amount of work in your core, but there's no compromise in your back. And then just start with an alternating knee lift. And just make sure that this feels appropriate for your body so far. And then from there, if it feels available, creating just a little bit of a rotational movement. So opposite knee towards opposite elbow. So every time the foot returns, we reset the length of the spine, the connection to the pelvic floor, and the drawing in of the core. So far, so good. Hang in there. Just 4 more if you can. Last 4. Remembering we can rest anytime. 1 more time. Perfect. Release. Take a moment to lengthen your legs. Take your arms high. And just ease your way into a gentle forward fold. Last 2 breaths here. And 1 more, please. We're going to lift ourselves up and we'll roll into a side plank position. And to set up, we're stacking shoulder and elbow, ear, shoulder, hip, and heel. From there, I'd like for you to start with your right arm high. And variation 1 will all start together. So breathe in. And then we're just coming underneath into a little bit of rotation. Exhaling down. Variation 2, it's the exact same movement, but we're going to elevate through the pelvis to get glute med on the bottom hip working together. Variation 3, we're going to open the top leg. At the same time, the hand reaches skywards. So exhale down, inhale up. So any option is perfect, and taking a break anytime you need. Listen, stay high. Take your right leg long, take your right arm overhead, and then from there, just see if you can bring your elbow towards your knee. So if this is feeling a little too strong, you just come back down to your hip. Same movement pattern, but just taking a lower level of intensity. Stay and breathe for 4 more. Last 2 as you are, 1 more, and then just see if you can hold this position from fingertip to toe, taking 1 more dynamic breath in before circling your way down and around. We're going to come all the way over to the other side. So once we arrive here safely, shoulder and elbow stacking, shoulder, hip, heel in one line, and then top arm is rising. We press down to really deliberately engage the core. And then it's an exhale to come down and through, and an inhale to return. So option 1, we stay right here. Variation 2, you're elevated through the pelvis. We're keeping the pelvis as stable as we can, creating rotation through the upper back instead. Variation 3, do you remember? So we come down. And then to get the top glute med working at the same time, we're opening that top knee into a clam. So it's an exhale down, inhale to reach and rise. And maybe your eye gaze feels comfortable to follow. Just 1 more, please. And then once you reach for the ceiling, pause here, lengthen through your left leg, lengthen through your left arm. Option to bring your pelvis down. Or please just see if it's possible to keep that hip elevated as you bring elbow and knee towards each other. Last 4 as you are. 2 remaining. 1 more. And everything hold for a moment. Stretch from fingertip to toe before gently releasing down. Come onto your hands and knees. Take your knees wide, big toes together, and just sink your hips back to child's pose. Flood the breath into the body, letting go of the effort for just a moment. One more breath before we ripple our way forward, and we're coming into forearm plank. So once again, we have the option of staying on our knees. We're stacking shoulder and elbow. We're pressing into hands, forearms, and elbows, thinking angry cat between our shoulder blades. Option 1, we're just going to stay grounded through the knees and rest when we need. Variation 2, we're coming to the tips of our toes and really focusing on maintaining the length of the spine. Variation 3, we're going to separate our hands and we're just working on an anti-rotational movement. So what does that mean? It means as I take one piece of the body away, My body wants to twist, and I'm desperately trying not to let that happen. So on our exhalation, we're reaching out with one hand, trying to keep the pelvis stable, and then we're alternating to the other side. As you begin to fatigue, just drop to your knees. It's the exact same movement, but just taking some of the intensity out of it. Just do 4 more in your own time on your knees, on your toes. Last 2 as you are. 1 more, please. 1 more. And then let's return to child's pose. So ease your way back. Breathing deeply through your upper back, middle back, lower back, and hips. We're winding our way forward again, but this time we're going to come into 4-point kneeling, shoulders and wrists stacking, hips and knees stacking. Option 1, we're staying as we are, and we'll just do a knee towards our chest in this shape, please. So this is variation 1. We're pressing through the hands, we're creating that angry cat shape as we bring an alternating knee towards our chest. Variation 2, you're in a long plank with your knees lifted off the earth. Exhale, inhale. So it doesn't matter. We are just finding the right level of challenge for ourselves today. Wherever you are, let's just do 4 more. For 3, for 2, and then I'd like you to bring that knee underneath the chest. So instead of coming towards the midline, I'd like for you to come towards the opposite elbow, please. So you can still be doing the same movement from your toes or from your knees. Let's just do 4 more. And then could we do same knee to elbow? So same knee to elbow. On your knees or on your toes. So using the exhalation to drive the knee forward. Using the inhalation to reset. Just 4 more. 3, 2 to go. 1 more, and rest. As we sink back this time, let's come to lateral flexion. So shifting torso towards your left. Reaching right arm long, flooding breath into the right lung. Right side of your torso. One more. Before we gently ease our way over to the other side. So stretch long through the left side of the torso. Flooding breath in. Last 2. One more deep, beautiful breath in. Before we return back to 4-point kneeling, and then we're coming to side plank. So right arm stacking shoulder and wrists. We're taking our top leg long and left hand behind your head. So variation 1, this is how we're going to stay. Take a breath in together, and then you're just rotating through the torso, attempting to keep the pelvis stable. Variation 2. We're going to split our stance, and it's the same movement pattern through the torso. Variation 3. It'll be your back leg that comes through. So we're trying to bring our right knee towards our left elbow. So challenging every stabilizer in the body and absolutely challenging our core. Last 4 as you are. 3, so this is a rotational movement. 2 to go. 1 more deep breath in, 1 breath out before we land back onto hands and knees. Return to your forearms, and we're coming back into our anti-rotational movement. So we're starting on knees and taking the opposite arm or a arm away from the midline. Variation 2, you're on your toes. So think angry cat between your shoulder blades. And as you lift one hand off, you're desperately trying not to drop and twist through your pelvis or through your shoulders. Anytime you need a breather, just bring your knees back to the earth or take child's pose. How does 2 more sound? Last 2. 1 more. Fantastic. Knees down. Come over onto your pelvis. And we're taking a second set of that rotational boat pose. So we're starting with a long spine, a super engaged pelvic floor and abdominal wall. And then if the body will allow, we're creating a little bit of rotation. So variation 1, we're staying stationary. Variation 2, we're doing an alternating knee lift, but taking a twist at the same time. Variation 3, I'd like you to start with both legs parallel to the ceiling. And you're still doing just a single leg, but the starting position is a little bit more challenging. Wherever you are, celebrating your efforts for 8 more. 7, 6, 5. Reset. 2 to go. 1 more, 1 more, 1 more. And relax. Hands underneath. Catch the opposing elbow or your wrist or your forearm. Tuck your chin. Flood the breath into the back of your body. And allow your abdominals to completely relax. We'll take 1 more breath in. And then as we lift on the in-breath, we're coming to left side plank. So grounding shoulder and wrist, but start with your knee on the floor. And then the option of staying grounded into one leg as we create just a little bit of rotation through the upper back. Variation 2, we come to a split stance, but we're continuing to do the same movement through the upper body. 1 more as you are, and then variation 3, it'll be your left knee aiming for your right elbow. So creating that knee to elbow crunch as we work shoulder stabilizers, core stabilizers, hip stabilizers. We've got 4 more. So rest if you need. Hang in there. Last 2. Last 2. 1 more, please. Beautifully done. Release. Come over onto your abdominals for your very last exercise. So not only do we want to work rotational component through the abdominals, but we want to also do that through our paraspinals, through the posterior chain muscles. So I'd like for you to tuck your toes and really energize your legs so much that your thighs lift off the ground. And variation 1 is just to stay here, learning how to really engage the core even when you're laying on it. So lift the navel up, lift the pelvic floor up. Variation 2, we're going to bring the elbows into our cactus position. And then variation 3, just see if you could lift your elbows and your hands a little bit. So charge your legs, feel the work in your glutes and your core rather than feeling it in your lower back. Just take 1 more breath here. And then everyone stack your hands, release your forehead, release your knees. So choosing wisely, just choosing what honors your body. You're ready to go again. So tuck your toes, energize your legs, feel your glutes, feel your core, and then just see if we can lift the hands. And then from there, lengthen the arms, thumbs to ceiling. So the rotational component comes as we breathe in. We're lifting through the left arm. And then we'll choose to come to the other side. So it looks a little bit like a seesaw, a teeter-totter. So keep charging your legs. Keep reconnecting to your core. And I know it's hard to breathe when you're laying on your belly, but continue to breathe as deeply as you can. Just 4 more as you are. 2 to go. 1 more, please. Fold your hands, release your legs. Could you bend both knees and just let your feet tick-tock from side to side? And then let them go in the opposing direction. And let's just do one last round of this posterior chain strengthening. So toes are tucking, legs are energized, core is lifting. And only if it feels safe for you, palms to the earth with chest lifted slightly. And then lifting hands if that feels available. Or sending arms long. And then adding that little tip. So every time you pass through the midline, I want you to deliberately reconnect to your glutes, your core, and your legs. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last 4. 3. Last 2. 1 more. And everything relaxes. Come into Sphinx for a moment. So shoulders and elbows stacking. Spread your fingers. Press down, but be soft through your lower back, through your glutes. Maybe lift your chin a little bit. And then just breathe. One more deep breath. Before you ease your elbows out, you lower your chest down. And we're coming to child's pose one last time, but now we're threading through. So right palm to ceiling. Land your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, maybe your head. Reaching through with your left arm, or you're welcome to flip that hand and bring it to the curve of your lower back. Wherever you are, if there's any pressure in your knees, you could lift your hips higher. Just take 2 more breaths. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of sweat dripping off my face. That's a good sign, right? Sweat is medicine for the body. Come up, come around, threading through. Good things come to those who sweat, right? You're going to take your palm to the ceiling with your left hand and then right hand to the top of your mat. Or reach high, flip the hand, curve of the back, crease of your hip. So hips towards your heels, unless your knees are not happy. And then just lift your hips higher. Just take one more beautiful breath in. Reach high with your right hand if you took your bind. Grounding into both hands for a moment. Come into 4-point kneeling. Just moving into a happy cat on your in-breath. And a not so happy cat on your out-breath. So a cat-cow. Just do 2 more like that. One more time, opening the front side of the body as we breathe in. And moving into flexion to open the back of the body as we breathe out. Come into Sukhasana. So take your time. And with your right leg in front of your left, you're welcome to take half lotus if that's part of your practice. Or just stay in that Sukhasana, but breathe high for a moment before taking a gentle side bend over to your left. Just a few breaths to really open up the obliques. They've done a lot of work today. And then from there, rise up into a twist. Right hand behind you, left hand catching your right knee. Grow as tall as you can. Just one more breath. And then I'd like for you to return your eyes and slide yourself forward. Your hands can reach forward or out to the side, but you're just moving into a gentle hip opener, a gentle lower back opener. If it feels good, just sway a little bit. One more deep, beautiful breath in. Before we take a moment to lift our heads and hearts, walk our way back, opening through the legs, and take a moment just to come into external and internal rotation. Press the pelvis, lift your heart. Just over to the other side when you're ready. Then Sukhasana, second side. So left leg in front or left leg coming to half lotus if that feels good to your knee. And once you've arrived there safely, ground with your right, reach with your left. Taking a gentle side bend in, generously flooding left side of the torso with your awareness, with your breath. Take one more breath. Reach high, that gentle rotation. Right hand, left knee, left hand behind. One breath remaining. Before returning your eyes, untwist and ease your way forward any amount that feels good. Once you find your end point, I'd like for you to invite a gentle sway. So really just thanking the foundation of your body, your core. And your core includes your abdominals as well as your pelvic stabilizers. But our core is absolutely the foundation and the powerhouse for our bodies. Everything is better with a stronger center. Take one more breath as you find stillness. And then easing your way up, just pausing for a moment, closing down the eyes. Bring your hands to your hearts. Gratitude for this body, for health, for vitality. And we take one last final breath, sending that same hope out into the world for all beings to feel healthy, to feel strong, to feel vibrant. One last full collective breath in. And on our exhalation, closing our practice with a bow. Namaste, yogis. I hope you enjoyed your core workout, your core yoga flow. Hope to see you soon.